plans to increase the number of students in Winchester are concerning locals. Wasted at the wheel. Drink driving still a problem in Hampshire. And the parking permit problem. Conflict over too many cars and not enough spaces. Now, local residents are becoming worried that students will dominate the city as the university plans to expand its numbers. They're complaining that late-night rowdyism will get worse. They're also concerned about the sheer number of students that will be living in the city. Gemma Lambert reports.
There are currently 7,000 students in Winchester, but recent plans to increase this number to 10,000 by 2025 are causing concerns for some residents. The plans have been met with dismay by locals, as many believe the expansion will create tensions in the community. Plans to expand student accommodation in the city include the construction of a housing complex by Winchester railway station.
Most residents, or many residents, are happy with their student neighbours, but unfortunately there are some, and there are also students who can make a loud noise going back through residential areas late at night, which cause real distress and upset. I think the best thing that the university needs to do with the City Council right now is sit down and say, here's our plan to take the university from where it is now, about 7,000 students, to 10,000 students. This is the timescale it's going to happen on. These are our plans for student housing. This is what we need to work out how to do in the rest of the city.
Student housing already affects areas such as Stanmore, Full Flood and Week. The proposal for more students to enter the city has raised fears about an increase in noise and antisocial behaviour. Winchester Student Union say there are measures in place to maintain the respect between students and residents.
So ourselves, we have our shush policy, Silent Students Happy Homes, which we enforce during all our nights out that we host. And the university are quite hot on acting on any reports they have of antisocial behaviour where they're able to track down the students, and then we work together to ensure that those students face repercussions that are necessary for the behaviour that they've been caught doing.
While residents may be unhappy with this situation, the University of Winchester continues to grow, bringing more students to the area. This means that more problems will be explored to solve this ongoing issue. Gemma Lambert, Winchester News Online.
New statistics show that over the past year, more than 1,600 people in Hampshire were arrested for drink driving. It's a problem that just doesn't seem to go away. James Poindexter investigates how the issue is affecting Winchester.
Drink driving is a huge problem. With more people learning to drive than ever before and an increasing student population, it would be fair to say that it's the youngsters that do it the most. But in these past 2 weeks, 3 people have been caught drink driving, and all of them over the age of 40. Some say the police don't do enough to combat the issue, others disagree.
In respect to drink driving, maybe do more in the way of education, maybe provide better information to people to try and make it more aware of actually what they have to face when they come to an accident and see people's bodies all smashed up and everything.
I don't know really. I think they do quite enough. There's a deterrent not to drink and drive nowadays.
Despite the risks involved, people still continue to drink drive, and it's becoming an increasing problem. I'm James Poindexter, Winchester News Online.
The University of Winchester is well known for its safe and friendly campus, but one persistent problem is that of limited parking. Ian Sheridan reports.
It's 8:45 a.m. and only the lucky few have found themselves a parking space.
We need to do something to change the parking regulations on campus because there is just not enough parking. The university hasn't done enough.
We have a restriction on car parking spaces. We can't create new spaces, and I don't think that's what we should be doing anyway, because we should be encouraging people to travel sustainably.
So for example, if I drop my children off at 9 o'clock in the morning to start school, by the time I get into university, it's about 9:40, 9:50. If there was a parking spot, then I could be on time to a 10 o'clock class. But there are no parking spots. So you either have to pay extra money to sit and park and ride day after day, week after week, year after year, or you have to be late. Just do not permit students to park on campus unless they have some other special circumstances.
Unusually, this university allows students to park on campus, with spaces limited.
And Winchester has an air pollution problem. We need to be supporting the City Council to try and reduce that, to try and reduce congestion and encourage people to travel as sustainably as possible. It is difficult, we don't deny that. It's difficult for our students and staff. It's also difficult for us to manage, and we want to make it as easy as possible.
On one hand, we have those who say we should be saving the environment. On the other hand, we have staff who say limited parking affects their teaching. With 1,000 parking permit applications received, for only approximately 400 spaces, it's clear that this problem won't be solved anytime soon. This is Ian Sheridan for Winchester News Online.
The oldest mill in the country, located here in Winchester, could close without more funding. That's the fear of the people running it. They say urgent action is needed. Lauren Hodgson has more.
The wheels have turned at Winchester City Mill. The building is in danger of collapsing due to erosion from floods in 2013. But why is it so important to save somewhere where we used to produce all our food?
We're one of the oldest working water mills in the country, and we are one of the oldest buildings in Winchester, and we're a massively part of Winchester's heritage and need to be saved. And we need to be saved because the beams that hold the floor up and the walls together have failed. They've rotted, so we need to put it all back together. We're still raising money until the end of the year, so if you're coming to visit us, you can buy a raffle ticket, you can make a donation, and every penny helps.
The future of the mill is almost certainly in the public's hands, with 66% of the fundraising being generated by the public. But the National Trust may have to fund the rest themselves. I've been Lauren Hodgson for Winchester News Online, Winchester.
A discovery by a community group has added new knowledge to the history of Winchester. This comes as the remains of an old abbey have been unveiled in Hyde. PH Lampard reports.
Winchester, one of England's most iconic historic cities. Its past constantly being discovered. It's as if you could dig anywhere and find out more. This is certainly true for the community group known as Hyde 900, who believe to have found items of international importance.
Hyde now is in people's minds, and they will come and they will look at and walk about the area where this big abbey complex stood and understand it, and I hope feel for it a little better.
The excavation itself not only unearthed fascinating pieces of history, it also brought the community together.
The aim was very much to involve the local community, because on the first dig we had 40 local people of all ages, the youngest was 4, taking part in archaeology, and that was a very exciting experience for them. Everyone at the end said they wanted to do it again, so hence this year's dig, where we went from 40 to 150 participants.
As well, there is stonework from the old abbey all around us, but these stones have been hidden from view, and we welcome them back to the light.
The findings unveiled today could teach us a lot about the heritage of Winchester, which could transform our knowledge of the city altogether. The question is, what else lies undiscovered in Winchester? I'm Paige Lampard, Winchester News Online.
More on our fascinating past now. Have you ever wanted to hold an over 400,000-year-old axe, a dinosaur toe bone, or a Roman coin? Winchester City Museum invites the public to get in touch with history on Meet the Curator Day. Julie Lee reports.
The sound of a horn that takes us back in time. Just one of many artifacts at display at Winchester City Museum. Today the museum invited the public to take a closer look at historical objects.
We've got our curator will be here, and we'll have lots of artefacts brought out of the stores, especially for the day, so that visitors can come and handle them. Because although you can go to a museum and see many things in glass cabinets, it's always something special to be able to get your hands on history. Once these things have been found, they are as much the heritage of the city as the historic buildings that you see around you, like the cathedral or the old Westgate. These are still telling us about the lives of the people who've lived here all those years ago. So you might just think, oh, it's just an old pot. But actually it's a pot that was made by a Saxon, used by a Saxon, and possibly even dropped by a Saxon and lost, or buried by one. So we can get a glimpse of their lives, people who've lived in Winchester all those years ago, from the things they've left behind, the clues, if you like, the evidence.
The museum will continue to hold events throughout the week. Next up is an Anglo-Saxon reenactment this weekend. Julie Lee, Winchester News Online.
Pollution in nature reserves is an increasing issue affecting the wildlife found in sites across the UK. Organisations such as the Wildlife Trust campaign on-site and in the community to preserve the areas and aim to prevent the problem of pollution. Sam Delamore reports.
National reserves are scheduled to have their spring clean and are looking as it should as autumn begins. The Wildlife Trust are set to knuckle down on the pollution caused in nature reserves across the country. The Winol Moors, only a short walk from Winchester city centre, provides an inner city reserve filled with diverse plant life, various animals such as swans and a scenic trail. The Trust continues to protect the wildlife by working together with local communities to ensure the effort to prevent pollution is well underway. I've been Samantha Delamore, Winchester News Online.
Now let's have a look at the sports. Johnny Leck is in the newsroom.
Thanks Victoria, it's time for the sports result roundup. In ice hockey, the Basingstoke Bison continued their winning streak, stealing 2 points away from home against the Streatham Redhawks in the National Ice Hockey League South Division 1. The Bison were outplayed for the majority of the game, but with 12 minutes to go, man of the match Josh Smith scored to level the game before also finding the winner with 5 minutes left to play. And in football, Basingstoke Town lost 1-0 away to Frome Town in the Evo Stick Southern League. The result sees them placed 16th in the table with 18 points from 14 games. And Southampton's Saturday night result, a 1-0 win against West Brom, has seen them rise to 10th place in the Premier League. At this stage last year, they had one more point under previous manager Claude Puel. But current manager Mauricio Pellegrino has stated he is happy with the fans' patience during the start of his managerial reign, and that he hopes the victory on Saturday night can help the Saints to improve and to work harder to prepare for their game against Brighton on Sunday. Now for something even closer to home. The University of Winchester has many sports societies and we decided to catch up with one of them. Rob Stone has more.
At the University of Winchester, the basketball team season is underway. The Winchester Knights have won 2 games out of the 2 played and Vice-Captain Bradley Holland is happy with the team's progress.
So we're currently third, we've got some games to play still, others have played more than us, but we're unbeaten at the moment, so we're doing the best we could be doing. So we've changed our defence, we've set up a new defensive strategy, got a new zone we're playing, it's working better than last year, so it's going well. It's new to everyone, so obviously some people are learning it still, not everyone knows what they're doing just yet, but it's getting better each week. It's a much more solid defence, it's harder to penetrate, and just, as a team it's a stronger way of defending, so it's going to help us out this year.
That's all for sports this week. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Johnny. Now to finish, we're going to talk some more about societies. They're one of the ways in which new university students can meet people and make friends. Our reporter Athena Lakey looks into how students at the University of Winchester have benefited by joining a society.
Going to university can be unsettling, and with the application deadlines approaching, students all across the country are beginning to wonder what university life is like and how to make the most out of their experiences.
Get stuck in, go to Freshers Fair, sign up for as many activities as you can, go to all the trials and then pick which one you like the best people and you like the most and you enjoy the most, because that's the one that's going to make your uni life like as fun as it is. I think if I wasn't in a society, let alone hockey, I would not love it as much as I do. So yeah.
Winchester women's hockey team definitely encourage new students to put themselves out there, however daunting it may seem.
I think just go for it. Like, you will obviously make friends like in your flat and like through your course. You'll get to meet older people and they know where to get best places to go on. So do you find it quite daunting, like you're going to university and there's obviously people here who are like 21, so it's quite a good experience.
and a society can give you a much needed sense of routine and regularity. So as a fresher, joining a society should be high on your list of things to do.
Joining the society, I feel like I can go out, and if I see girls that are in like third year on my society, I can still go up and speak to them and be more confident with older students. Definitely get on a society. Everybody just wants you to have a good time, so I'd just go for it.
So before heading off to university, make sure you take a look at the societies on offer or the different ways in which you can get involved. Athena Lakey, lifestyle reporter for Winchester News Online.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching Winchester News Online. Bye-bye.